All right. Okay, I think the streaming has begun. We're going to have a meeting in about 10 minutes with a special guest, special different time. It's 5 a.m. in the Philippines, and the Sea Lions have a presentation or a coach visit on motivation from none other than Coach Mark Schubert. Coach Schubert's an ISCA Hall of Fame member and a longtime great coach at Mission Viejo. He as well as coached at Texas and USC and Mission Bay in Florida. But Coach Schubert is going to talk to the team, and we can join in. So I'm warming up the streaming. It'll start in about 10 minutes. So we'll do a few other little things first, just to keep your attention. Here's the first thing: as a QR code. Put your phone up there if you can, and take a snap of that, and join us on a tech platform. It's called Crew Lab, CREWLAB. Crew Lab is a way to communicate with your team and have a calendar and have some reflective writing. That will be helpful with your organizational things. And it comes out of the rowing sector. In rowing, they often have 8 people in a single boat, and they're crewing down the river or in the lake. And the coaches needed a way to find out how each of the athletes was doing. Are they overstressed? Did they get any sleep last night? Are they eating well? And you want to have some good synergy among the 8 people. But if you don't have a barometer on the team, you could be in a little bit of difficulty. So anyway, check this out. When you do, there's a bonus in there. I don't want to tell you about it, but I want you to go find it for yourself. Or if you want, you can always send me an email. Now, I'm going to hide this QR code in the next minute or maybe the next 10 seconds, and I want to play a few other things for us about. Okay, this is a special request. If you have a website, now especially if it's a website that allows for code, primarily if you have a team website or a school website and you want to support WAFSU, the World Aquatic Federation of Schools and Universities, I'm asking for a favor. We want to get more people involved, and we want to get more people aware. So there's a little code. Now, I've made it larger here so you can see it. If you drop this code snip into your web page, it will deliver this logo to the right, the WAFSU logo. Now, I've magnified my screen a bunch, so it won't look this big now. Let's see if I can make my screen a little bit smaller. It's 175%. So when you're really talking about putting it on, it's going to be a nice little button. And when people click on the WAFSU logo, hey, what's this thing about? They're going to be taken to the homepage of wafsu.org, where there are always a lot of awesome informational seminars. So you get this code by going to a website called web.swimiska.org. And I'll also put this code now onto the WAFSU site. So this is a way to show support to WAFSU, pay nothing, and just allow for some recycled electrons to help promote the cause and mission of supporting coaches. Thanks for the consideration. If you need some help, I'm always available with an email.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon for those who are coming from different places around the world. Okay, this is your chairman of the UCSSC welcoming you in the 2026, and we are thankful for the consistent attendees. We would like to persuade most of the coaches to upgrade themselves for the latest of coaching uh, knowledge that you can get coming from the UCSSC. The speakers coming from different countries, most of them are actually national coaches. We would like to ask you to at least spend about 1 hour to attend the UCSSC Sports Coaching Education. Thank you.
We're getting ready to do a seminar with Coach Mark Schubert in the next 5 or 6 or 7 minutes. And we're happy to see people attending. So for now, I'm just warming up the live stream so that people also on our Facebook page or at YouTube might be able to have this discovered in their feed and could click and follow along. So stay tuned. Coach Mark Schubert's going to join us. And while you're here, I get to give a little bit of some introductions. Coach Dennis is at 5 a.m. in the Philippines. I'm here in Pittsburgh at 5 p.m. and somewhere in between East Coast USA and the other side of the world in the Philippines is Coach Mark Schubert, who is presently residing and coaching in Hawaii.
I hope Coach Mark is not having a hard time with checking in.
Let's see what else we have in here.
Still
Here's
have
a
about 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, here's an infographic that's going to come up. Coach Basketball joined us some weeks ago. He talked about building team culture, and his methods were expressed in this infographic about professional team culture. And he considers 2 pillars. He has a coaching blueprint.
Coach Mark Schubert is there already.
I see a Mark as a guest.
Oh, Coach Mark is a guest?
I see Mark, just Mark.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
Is Coach Mark there already? Coach Mark? Oh, yeah, Coach Mark is there already. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Okay, from different places. This is actually recorded and will be posted at the WAPSU. We would like to introduce our speaker for today, which is coming from Hawaii. And it's actually 11 a.m. from Hawaii. And he is a former national coach of USA, the former director of the high performance in USA, none other than my idol, my mentor, Coach Mark Schubert. Okay, I would like to again add for that he's a Hall of Famer from ASCA, American Swimming Coaches Association, and still ongoing, being awarded by many, okay, with regards to his achievements. Okay, you can Google the name of Coach Mark Schubert, and you will have a lot of things there to read with regard to his achievement. Okay, we don't want to waste time, and we would like, and we are actually excited to be with Coach Mark. Coach Mark, the floor is yours.
We're talking about team culture, yes?
These are athletes and parents of my team, okay, waking up 5 o'clock in the morning because they're excited to hear from you. Thank
We're,
you, Coach.
we're talking about team culture,
Coach,
yes?
Coach, I think it's anything you feel appropriate.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, culture, motivation, or
Let's
whatever you're
let's
working on.
yeah, let's talk about team culture. I think the beauty of swimming is the fact that it's, although some people consider it an individual sport, it can be made into a team sport, and I think people will perform better if they perform for each other as a team than just for themselves. We see that often from the top, uh, performing for your country, and even the little kids perform very well when they're performing for a team. You do things like spirit, you can do things socially. And I know with little kids, often when they're asked, why do you swim? They say, so I can see my friends. So it's really, really important. And I like, as a coach, to make sure that I'm emphasizing team all the time. It was interesting when I asked a former Australian coach how a country with 30 million people can compete so well and often defeat a country with 300 million. And they said, because so often they talk about beating the United States and they consider themselves a team with a purpose, and that purpose is to defeat the United States. Of course, the United States really is more focused on individual performance and often prize money. And I think we can do better by focusing as a team. And I think our new national team director will do a much better job of focusing our swimming as a team. And I anticipate that we'll have a much better performance in Los Angeles in 2028 than we did in Paris. At least I hope. Can you see me
No, Coach.
now?
No, Coach.
Huh. How about now?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay,
Yes, now, Coach.
I'm sorry. I think when athletes are young, you can always finish the practice with a team cheer. I try throughout my practice to talk about what we do as a team. Things like streamlining, things like underwater kicking, things like technique, various things in technique, and not just individual, but make it a thing that's a habit as a team, taking pride as a team doing things correctly. Uh, I like to talk about hidden training. Hidden training is the things that you ask the athlete to do that you won't see: nutrition, rest, visualization. Visualization is when you close your eyes and you see in your mind's eye swimming correctly, racing well, winning the race. Uh, that's something that athletes should learn to do, and they should learn to do it on their own. Although you can practice that as a team. Oftentimes, I will have my team lie in a quiet, dark place, close their eyes, and we will practice visualization. And it doesn't even need to be swimming. It could be laying on a beach, visualizing the blue sky, visualizing the waves crashing, uh, anything that you practice so that you can vividly see in your mind's eyes. Vivid as a high definition TV. This can be used in anything. I have used it in coaching. Students have used it in learning. Business people can use it in business. I teach a class in Japan every November where we teach this, among other things: uh, positive thinking. Uh, I try to correct my athletes, and sometimes the team can correct an athlete if they say something negative, particularly if they say something negative about themselves. You know, the mind is so powerful. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's a saying from Henry Ford at the beginning of the last century, and it is so true today. I have a picture in my office of a kitty cat looking in a pool of water, seeing himself as a tiger. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about. That see yourself as great. Sometimes we even say, fake it till you make it. In other words, I tell athletes, Olympic year, act like an Olympian every day. And you do that by nutrition, rest, practicing visualization, and swimming like they're an Olympian every day. I often say you will swim fast if you train faster this year than you trained last year. If you train at the same speed, expect the same results. Uh, Swimming is not rocket science, it's hard work and focus. Focus on good technique, starts, turns, swimming itself. Focus on good underwater, which is known by Eddie Reese as the fifth stroke, and it is so important in swimming today. More so short course than long course, but still very, very important. Those are the things that you need to focus on. And if you do that every day in practice, who knows, you may become an Olympian, but you will be a lot better. Um, I just tell them every day, swim like you're an Olympian. Do the things that an Olympian would do to create excellence. Um, Other things that we do as a team is we have barbecues with the parents, social events, uh, cheering for your teammates in a important swimming meet or any swimming meet. Get used to having team cheers, being near the lane, cheering for your teammates. It is so powerful, the effect of a team will have on an individual performance. And I truly believe that team is the most important thing for swimming excellence. It's when you're part of the national team, and I've been blessed to coach 8 USA Olympic teams. The camaraderie and the spirit and the esprit de corps that we have had, not only in our country but especially in the United States, has made us a very powerful swimming country. And again, like the Australians talk about beating the US, Americans talk about how fast they're going to have to swim, not only to make the Olympic team, but swim in the Olympics. Sometimes we find a situation where an athlete makes the Olympic team and swims slower in the Olympics. And I think that it's important when you're training to make the Olympic team that you're training to swim well, to swim your best time in the Olympic Games. We all know that the American Olympic trials are brutal. It's very, very hard to be in the top two in the United States. But if you can accomplish that, what we want is for you to swim your best time in the Olympic Games itself. And that's what's important about making the Olympic team. Any questions?
Coach, can you basically define, okay, the best way to develop mental toughness?
Well, I think that's a very, very good question. And I have to admit, I've never been asked that question before. Very intelligent. I think mental toughness is acquired by swimming a number of swimming meets. And sometimes we get so focused on doing a best time or a good time, we aren't as focused as we should be in winning. If a swimmer swims a good race and wins a good close race, I really compliment them because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for swimmers that win close races, and that equals mental toughness. Uh, if you're just focusing on times, oftentimes you can get touched out. You look at the scoreboard, oh, I did my best time, but I lost. I want them to win whether they do their best time or not. And that equals mental toughness. The other thing that I learned talking to your team out of the water is very, very important. After a swim meet, you can point out the swimmer on your team that you think did the best job. Even more importantly, you can have the swimmers point out who did the best job. Hopefully, it's the same person, but sometimes not. You know, if somebody was able to win a number of close races, but not do their best times, I'm going to compliment them because focusing on winning, focusing on finishing well, finishing with anticipation, and finishing with intensity, that's what we're looking for. And I think mental toughness can be developed out of the pool as well as in the pool. But there's nothing like practicing in the pool, in a swim meet, winning close races. And I don't care if you're first place or 10th place, if you have to work hard to get that place. In other words, you want to be 10th, you want the other guy to be 11th, you have to absolutely fight. And that's what's key with mental toughness. Same thing in practice. And I'm a big believer of everything you do in a swim meet, you practice. You know, if you don't turn legally, if you don't turn well, it's not surprising if you're disqualified because you've practiced poor habits. Practice winning habits. Practice winning in practice. I think the reason that a team has a number of swimmers that swim well in a certain event is because they compete against each other in practice. A great football coach who coached at USC and was a good friend of mine because I was at USC at the same time. His name is Pete Carroll. He used to designate Wednesday as Competition Wednesday, where they would put on pads and helmets and really go after it full force. He wouldn't do that toward the end of the week because he had the game coming up. He wouldn't do it at the beginning of the week because they were somewhat fatigued from the game the previous week. But every Wednesday they had to compete. And that's a word that I use in practice most often. Compete, compete, compete. Don't disregard the person next to you. Compete with them. If possible, beat them. And with the younger swimmers that are close to the older swimmers, I encourage them to compete and possibly beat them. That does two things. The younger swimmer develops confidence. The older swimmer has motivation not to let it happen. So those are the two things that we want to accomplish, and that develops mental toughness. I hope I answered your question.
Yep, yep, yep. Coach, another question that we would like um, to point out: how do you set self motivation on being an Olympian? You wanted to aspire to be an Olympian. How do you teach those young kids to be to think like an Olympian?
Well, I think you need to define what an Olympian is like. And the first thing is excellence in practice. I like to show video of great swimmers in competition and in practice so that we know what they do. I like films where Olympians talk about technique or talk about starts and turns so that the younger up and coming swimmers can see what great technique is like and what Olympians are striving to achieve. It's very simple. You need to have a goal. If your goal is to make the Olympic team, I hope that your goal will become doing your best time in the Olympic Games. Even though it may be harder to make the Olympic team, where you set your goals is important. I had a swimmer named Brian Goodell who won 2 gold medals at the Montreal Olympics and set 2 world records. He was in third place in the 800 freestyle halfway through the race. He looked at the award stand and he thought to himself, I'm only a junior in high school. If I win a bronze medal, that's a very good thing. And then next, he kind of slapped himself in the face and said, that's not what I trained for. That's not what my dream is. I can swim so much faster than I'm swimming right now. He went 3:58 and the last 400, almost the world record at the time, and won the race. I think that anytime anytime you're in a race, think about what your goal is and strive to reach that goal. Talking about goals, let's say you have a goal of making the Olympic team. You need goals along the way. I call them stepping stone goals. So don't just set the highest goal, set little goals along the way that will reach towards the highest goal. You know, it may be to become the best 100 freestyler in your area. And then it may become the best 100 freestyler in college. And from then, you can set the goal of being the best 100 freestyler in America, in Australia, in whatever country you are, to make the Olympic team, and then to do your best time in the Olympic Games themselves.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Ma'am V? Okay. There are parents here. Okay. About few parents. Okay. Swimmers, do you have any questions? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for you to ask a national coach of USA.
You know,
Parents, kids, do you
you
have
know
any
who,
questions?
who always has good questions is Mark. If he's still there, Mark, you always have the best questions.
Oh, thanks, Coach. Uh, how about family impact? it's the coach and the swimmer, but what about other things that are going to influence that youngster's life? Do you have any fun stories about some family interactions with your history?
Well, I think that's another great question. Uh, I can talk a little bit about what not to do, and I can talk a lot about what to do. I think the best time that a parent and a swimmer has interaction is in the car on the way to and on the way from practice. And it's important that the parent be positive. You can talk about swimming or you can talk about other things. If the parent puts a lot of pressure on a swimmer, it will make swimming unenjoyable. I think the parent needs to be motivating, but not in the role of the coach. If the parent has a big concern, let the coach know. The coach probably will agree with that concern and take action. The parent is not the coach. The parent is the cheerleader. The parent does everything they can. Good nutrition, good rest, positive environment. One of the things is make sure your child is hanging around with people that are positive. One of the worst things is if you have a best friend who's negative. Uh, and I try to be around positive people. I try to make sure I'm not around people that are negative, either about themselves or others, or particularly you, because that sets in your subconscious. You really have control of that, but it's not positive to have people that are negative. If people on the team are negative, it's up to the coach to deal with it. uh, Take them out of the pool, have meetings with them, talk to them about how they're hurting the team. And quite frankly, if they don't change, make a uh, make an effort to join another team. I've encouraged people to join another team, people that are good but are negative, because it does not help the majority to have a minority be negative. I think parents that are positive, that are good parents. And I will give you an example. I coached a great swimmer, Caitlin Sandino, who was a gold medalist. And at the 2004 Olympics, she placed second by a tenth over a Russian girl in the 400 individual medley. It was funny because it was the first time that she had broken 440. She had tried 5 or 6 times and hadn't broken 440, but this time she broke it by a lot. She was actually skipping from the starting block when she got out of the pool over to the warm up pool, and had the biggest grin of joy as if she'd won the race. In her mind, she won the race because she broke 440 in the 400 IM. Now, at the end of the session, her mother called me over, and we talked between a fence where the parents were sitting in the stands and I was in the warm-up area. And Mrs. Sandino said to me, I don't know how good that time was because I don't know anything about her times, but she is so happy, and that has made me so happy. That is the perfect attitude. Not to be so engrossed in times and places, but to be focused on your child being happy and satisfied. And if they're not, help them in any way you can without trying to be their coach to be happy and satisfied. I just thought that was the perfect example.
Yeah, sure is. Thanks. How you're in Hawaii now. How's the landscape of Hawaiian swimming? The club situation there. What are you finding? about your new neighborhood there?
Well, I think Hawaiian swimming is maturing. We have developed some great champions, and I think we have some good examples. But I think Hawaii can be even better. It's a small population, but it's a population around water. Everybody needs to learn to swim, and then we need to pick out the people that are most talented and encourage them to develop into great swimmers. The only negative thing, and we can overcome it, is the fact that if you want the best competition against the best swimmers in the United States, you have to travel quite far. And, travel is a part of the challenge here, and we travel. Our team went to Japan in January to compete in a major competition there. So we find competition, we go to it, we challenge ourselves to race against the best, and that's how you become a champion.
Great. Other questions from other people? You could even put them in the chat if you don't want to speak them, and that would be helpful as well. I don't see anything in the chat. Hey, Coach,
Um,
go ahead, Dennis.
okay. Coach, the the whole the whole idea of making the gold, okay. Normally some of the kids are used on using visualization, okay. What are the latest ways of approach on visualization, coach?
Well, I'll give you an example of Michael Phelps.
Mhm.
He would take each Olympic event that his goal was to win the event and to set a world record. He would take a 3x5 card, he would pin it above his head where he could see it. He could see his splits. He could see the final result. He would close his eyes and he would rehearse one event a night. He would see himself walking out, removing his clothes to his tracksuit, visualized who his competition was going to be, looking back and forth. He would visualize the dive, how the water felt when he went in, how many underwater kicks he was going to take, how many strokes he would take, the stroke rate to the other end, his turn, the underwater, how many strokes he would take on the second length, the third length, and so forth. He broke the world record and won each and every event. The last event was the 100 fly. No, I'm sorry. The 200 in the 200 fly, he dove in and his goggles flipped up. He couldn't even take them off because he was swimming butterfly. So he kind of closed his eyes and visualized his race just as he had many times before the Olympics. The number of strokes, the number of underwater kicks, where the wall was, visualization. That's the best example of the power of visualization because he knew the number of strokes and the wall was right there every time. He didn't break the world record, but he did win the race. And I always thought that was a great example of what he was all about in swimming. I was going to use the 100 fly as an example. Uh, there were two big challenges in him winning 8 gold medals. One was the 400 freestyle relay. He led off for the United States. He always liked to lead off. His relay exchange wasn't the best, but he could always do well leading off. He swam. He was third place when he touched. The French and the Australians were ahead of him. I was standing next to Bob Bowman, his coach, and Bob said, "Darn it, I can't believe he swam so poorly." And then Bob looked at his watch and he said, "Oh, he just broke the American record." So it wasn't so bad after all, and it got us exactly where we needed to be. The second swimmer uh, got us ahead, and in my mind, had a great deal to do with winning the event. The third swimmer was Cullen Jones. Cullen earned his place on the relay by swimming fast in the morning. He certainly earned that phase and was close but behind, and Jason Lezak dove in. Sports Illustrated recently and ESPN had examples of the best finishes ever. The first one that they used as an example was Jason Lezak's swim at the end of the 400 freestyle relay. He used a technique called dragging. He was right on the lane line next to the French swimmer. The French swimmer was the world record holder, but because he was so close, he made the French swimmer go out too fast. And then halfway through the second length, you had the feeling that the French swimmer uh, was in the lead, but Jason was right next to him. And then Jason began to move with a half a length to go and finished amazingly first in a split that wasn't bested in a long period of time and won the race. And to me, watching the every Olympic race since 1976, it was the best Olympic race I have ever seen. And although I've had a lot of Olympians that I've coached personally, I think his race, uh, helping Michael win. The other event was the 100 fly. I have a picture on my wall taken by Hans Klutmeyer underwater of the finish of the 100 fly. Michael does not have the uh, extreme speed that many people have, and not often in the 100 fly does he touch first, but he never gives up. His last 10 meters are fantastic. He just doesn't die like other swimmers. And it appears that Michael Cavic touched first. However, if you look at the underwater video, you'll see that Michael put more pressure on the pad than Michael Kevick did. And you have to put at least 8 pounds of pressure on the pad. Just said, so uh, Michael extended, he kicked hard, he finished hard on the wall. Michael Cavic finished soft, and Michael Phelps won by a hundredth of a second. Very close. So winning 8 gold. Hey, stop, stop. My dog is going crazy. In any case, it wasn't easy to win 8 gold medals, and it took help from his team and his teammate Jason Lezak. Obviously, 3 of those gold medals were the 400 medley, the 800 free relay, and the 400 free relay, of which Michael was a pivotal part. But it took 4 great swimmers to win those gold medals, and I know Michael credits them for 3 of his 8 gold medals.
Coach, another big question is that the beating of the 100 fly of Joseph Schooling to Michael Phelps. You mentioned he's really good on the last 10 meters, but I saw that Joseph Schooling went on, okay, on a rampage on the first 50, beating here Michael Phelps on the first 50. And Michael Phelps thinks that he can still he could still catch up and beat Joseph Schooling, but that did not happen. Coach, coach,
I don't see him on the list right at the
hello,
moment.
coach. You were lost. Not yet. You need to check. You need to check in again. Okay, coach. You're not. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, okay. Is there such a thing?
Is that me?
No, no, not yet, coach.
Is that me?
Uh, no, not yet. You're not yet in, coach.
I'm sorry.
Coach Mark.
I see you, Dennis.
Yeah, but you're is Coach Mark there already?
I am here. I don't see Coach Schubert's though.
No, no, no.
What do I need to do?
You
Technologically challenged.
okay, okay. Coach, you need to click again the link. Okay,
Okay,
you need to click the link again. Thank you, Coach.
I will try.
Okay, Coach.
Sorry about that.
Okay, okay.
You just sent me something.
Yes, yes. The same link.
Is that better?
Yes, 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 Coach. Okay, Coach, you're in. Coach, you're back. Coach Mark.
How's that?
That's
Okay.
great.
Coach, there is a question. Uh, Coach,
Now I
is
can't
there
hear you.
uh there is a question, Coach. Can you hear me now? Hello, Coach. Can you hear me now?
I hear you, Dennis.
Mark,
Coach
can you hear
Mark?
me? I see you.
Yeah, I hear you fine, but it's not good if you
Yeah.
can't hear us. Uh, You're
Coach, can you hear us? Coach Mark?
Send me the link again.
well, you're on.
No, no.
You're here, but you're not. Then he just went out of the video. Okay, I'll kick him out of the room, and we'll try one more time. Are you sending it, Dennis, or do you want me to?
Okay. Uh okay. Coach, we'll connect you here. Okay. Coach, there is a question. Okay. The Coach, there is a thing such as a swimmer's burnout with young kids. That's a question coming from uh, the president of the club.
Okay, could you repeat that?
Okay, it's all about burnout. It's all about burnout.
A great from USC once said, burnout is caused by swimming your best event and not improving. His solution was very simple. Focus on a different event. Maybe you focus on 200 IM. Maybe you focus on backstroke when you're a butterflyer. Maybe you focus on butterfly instead of freestyle. You will usually, if you do that, improve one of those events, and then you can go back to your best events. I have always used that theory. It's always worked very well for me.
Okay. Sir Gilbert, is that answers your question? Sir Gilbert? Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay. Uh, any more questions? Because I know that you have classes also. Guys, any more question?
I want to say it's been a pleasure. I appreciate being invited. I appreciate the good questions that have been asked. And if any of you have further questions and you want to contact me, my email is very simple. Schubert, SCHUBERT at hawaii.org. Stands for the school that I work at and the pool that I work at, American Renaissance Academy. Also, if ever you're in Hawaii, come see us. If you're a swimmer, you would be welcome to train with us. If you're a coach, you would be welcome to observe, ask questions. However, you need to know I may put you to work coaching, but you would all be welcome to see me.
Do you hear that, guys? You're welcome to Hawaii, okay, with Coach Mark, okay? Thank you, Coach. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for so much for your effort. Okay, Coach.
Thank you for asking. No
Okay,
problem.
Coach.
Anytime.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Coach Schubert gave us a seminar recently about altitude training. And if people want to hear more from Coach Schubert, you could go to the WAFSU.org page and hear how he handles altitude training. And I know for sure that he's going to be in northern Arizona again. He talks about that in the seminar for 3 weeks this year with an altitude camp. So if that's a possibility for anybody that's listening, you could join Coach Schubert in northern Arizona. It's the an indoor pool at the highest altitude in the continental United States. So do check out that other seminar. Hey, Dennis, have a good day.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Coach.